Do you know who your kids are talking to online? Well, now MySpace.com, the world's most popular social networking site, is teaming up with law enforcement to keep predators at bay. But will it work? Here's NBC's Kerry Sanders.
For so many kids, a MySpace page is a rite of passage filled with pictures, likes, dislikes, personal details. And that's been the problem.
He met her on MySpace. Subsequently, he created a relationship with her, and she fell in love with him, someone she'd never seen.
When that Florida teenager went to meet the boy who befriended her on MySpace, she was kidnapped.
I gotta have a baby back.
Please bring my baby home.
Turned out the boy was 44-year-old William Mitchell with a long police record, including lewd or lascivious battery on a child.
We recognize as well there's no magic bullet. There's no panacea.
Attorneys general in every state but Texas say they've now taken a first step with MySpace toward protecting children from predators.
I believe this is one where technology got ahead of everybody.
MySpace will now restrict 14 to 17-year-olds from contact with strangers, and kids under 14 will no longer be allowed to use MySpace. Only problem, and this is why Texas didn't sign on, MySpace has no idea who's using the computer.
It's a great way to meet interesting new people.
On Monday, this 12-year-old lied about her age, lied about her name, and despite the new rules, within minutes, had a MySpace page.
Too easy.
The new rules come too late for Megan Meyer. The 13-year-old Missouri teenager committed suicide after a classmate's mother posted disturbing messages on her page.
Are you usually set to private?
No.
A task force will now help police MySpace. But as this check of Kelsey's page reveals, the problems may be overwhelming.
How revealing do you think my page is? Do you think
I could find you.
In 10 minutes, our investigators going undercover, pretending to be a child, can get somebody to solicit them for sex, an older person, in 10 minutes.
MySpace, a place for friends, and now hopefully only for friends. For today, Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Miami.
Parry Aftab is an internet privacy and security attorney. Parry, good morning. Nice to have you back here.
Good morning, Matt.
We've heard some of the steps. You know the others that are being taken in this deal with 49 states. Significant?
Well, it's a step. It's a process more than anything else. Everyone's sitting in one room saying we're going to work on it. Education, tools, putting the good brains together. So it's a beginning.
Let me take you through some of the steps that stood out when I read them. First of all, and I didn't understand this one, is why I'm asking you. Make the default setting private for 16 and 17-year-old users.
Well, that also means kids who say they're 16 and 17. So when you create a MySpace, you have two choices. Everybody can see everything you post, or only certain people that you pre-approve can see what's behind your front page.
This way it would be mandatory for 16 and 17-year-olds to be on the private setting?
Private setting, you can undo it, but the kids have to say they're 16 or 17 instead of 47.
Allow parents to submit children's email addresses to MySpace to prevent anyone from misusing the addresses to set up profiles.
I'm not sure that that's going to work. I'll talk to them about it. I'm always concerned about kids' email addresses being shared in a database because I think somebody can get to them.
And here's the one that stands out to me most of all. Strengthen software to find underage users. They say that they are going to work on technology that will allow them to verify the age of users. How are they going to do that?
Well, I don't think it exists, but what they said is if we can make it happen, we're going to make it happen. We're going to pull everybody into the room who knows everything about it, and if it can happen, we'll put our money and our brains behind it and have that happen.
In realistic terms, Kerry Sanders in his piece mentioned Megan Myers, the young lady who went online, got involved with what she thought was a young boy who was interested in her. Turns out it was a neighbor's mom. Could these new rules have prevented something like that from happening?
No, not the way they're written now. But the biggest problem we have is cyberbullying on these sites. And as you know, Matt, Tina's going to be working with us in our Stop Cyberbullying program. But I'd love it if we can come up with technology to find that Lori Drew, the one who was masquerading as a 16-year-old, could be found out more easily.
We're talking MySpace. Are places like Facebook going to follow suit in this deal with all these states?
Well, a lot of the social networks are looking at this, trying to see if they can get on board. Facebook's already doing an awful lot because of New York. And all of them are working with us, Matt, at the charity I run, Wired Safety, to use best practices and pull it all together.
And Parry, as we talk about all the time on this show, and you talk about more than anyone, it is got to talk. If you're a parent, you got to talk to your kids. kids. Specifically, now that these new guidelines and these new rules are out, what do you need to say to your kids?
Well, first you got to remember you're the parent. Put up your hand and say, I may not understand the technology, but I can ground you if you don't listen. Then talk to them. Do you have a social networking profile? Show it to me. I want to see it tomorrow. It gives them a day to clean it up and learn about internet safety.
When we're talking about younger children, and again, if you're under 14, you shouldn't be on MySpace anyway, but when you're talking about teenagers, how do you inform them without scaring the pants off them?
Well, you can't scare the pants off of a teenager. They'll just stop listening to you. So what you say is, go on there and find your friends' profiles. See if you can make them a little safer, and make sure your friends aren't posting personal information about you.
You also think you should Google your kids' names?
Absolutely. Not just their names, their cell numbers, your address, their regular telephone numbers, because it's an early warning system of cyberbullying, and it lets you know if your kids are putting too much information out there.
So A to F, a grading system, this new deal with these 49 states, what do you give it?
Oh, I give it an A+ as a great start, and we'll see what happens when they get going.
I wish I had you as teacher in school. If you're giving A+ for good starts, that's good.
Anyone who's going to sit down and say, let's try, is a good thing.
All right, Perry, thanks.